All right, and we're live. And welcome, guys, to another edition of Deconversion Stories. Hang on, let me straighten this out a little bit. There we go. Today I'm talking with Inordinate Refraction. Uh, you've been an atheist for about how long now?
About 5 years, I think.
Well, that's not. I got to turn my volume on this down now, or you're going to hear everything in repeat. All right, so basically, what we do here, or what I do here, there's no we. I don't really have a multiple personality, so that's okay. Basically, I just like to know, like, when you first sort of started realizing that things weren't what you thought, and um, like you just started questioning your belief system, and then talk about your pathway from there, some of the things that happened, like with family member type stuff, friends, that kind of thing, and what led you to becoming somewhat of an atheist activist now.
Oh, geez. Okay. So, when it came to doubts, I guess I've always been doubting since I was a kid. Um,
Okay.
I think every child is born with like this innate curiosity to ask why things are the way that they are. And that gets kind of beat out of you when you're a kid in religion. You learn very quickly that you're not allowed to ask certain questions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but for for me, I guess I owe a lot to my older cousins. I didn't have any siblings growing up, and my older cousins decided it would be hilarious to play a lot of pranks on me as a child. They can, being in rural Texas, they convinced me to go snipe hunting and told me that Martians were real and lizards
Oh,
ran the
geez.
government and all of these other things. And I would see that the adults would always chastise them for putting these ridiculous ideas in my head. So by the time that I got to go to Sunday school and I heard about a guy named Jonah living inside of a whale for a little while,
Right.
I kind of knew to think a little bit more critically. Um, oh geez.
Yeah, especially
And
since he apparently built a little fire in there and everything.
yes, yes, exactly. It was just so obviously untrue, and I was very confused as to why my parents were not chastising these older adults for doing exactly what my cousins did.
Well, yeah, it's funny because when my grandparents, before they're long gone now, but they were in Israel and they bought me. You know how people make art on tiles that you can put on, like if you're retiling your bathroom, you can get artistic tiles that people hand paint and stuff. They got me one of Jonah inside the whale, so I had that in a little frame for the longest time. So it's funny you brought that up,
Oh
and
my
and it,
goodness.
I always thought it was a neat little thing, but like you, I was like, that's just not fucking possible. Like, which is why I still kind of think of why can't people understand that these stories are pure mythological stories?
Exactly.
So
Also,
talk about, I guess, when you was your family very religious, or were they just sort of culturally, like, I'm assuming you were Christian.
oh yeah, my family was pretty hardcore Baptist, and they're
Oh
also
wow.
fundamentalist creationists, but they
Oh,
don't really they're not well-read creationists. They don't investigate their faith at all. They're just like, the Bible's true. I grew up that way. That's why.
right. And they were expecting you to believe it all too, I assume.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's funny. Did you ever talk to them? Like, did you ever like any belief system? I think that tells you not to question, you should automatically question. So, were you ever like in sort of conversations with them about why they believe this sort of thing, or
I tried to be, but they are very unwilling to discuss why they believe it because they don't have a good reason to. And the moment that you press them on that, they get very uncomfortable and very defensive.
wow, wow? So, did they kind of like try to quash the conversation before it even got going?
Well, it always, mm, if it doesn't start with you just have to have faith, it ends with you just have to have faith. So,
Yeah, I would always say, your storybook there, the Bible there, starts with a talking snake. and ends with a talking seven-headed dragon. Like, you can't figure out that this stuff is just made up. Like, what's wrong with you? It's kind of funny that is the way it is. But yeah, so how did they take it when have you told them that you're no longer a believer? Or?
Oh, so I told my mother that I was an agnostic and she
Mhm.
didn't take it well. And then by the time that I had fully accepted that I was an atheist, I told her that and she took it even less well.
I
There
imagine.
was there was a lot of screaming and a lot of fighting. My father just kind of happened to figure it out for himself
Oh
and he
yeah,
just
but how do you
brought
think he did that?
well, one day he just mentioned that he was going to pray for me, and then he added on, I know you don't really believe in that. And
Oh.
I just kind of realized like, oh, so I don't even have to tell you. That's lovely.
Well, I guess parents to get to know their kids fairly well, and then certain things, I guess, can give it away. But yeah, well. How I guess he probably is handling it a little better than your mom, I imagine.
Um, yeah, he's handling it a little better, but they're both of the opinion that it's just a phase and that I will
Right.
eventually come around once I'm older and wiser.
Come back to the flock, right?
Of course.
Because that's what we all want to be as sheep, right? So
Exactly. Oh my goodness. I
so
remember specifically that my mother had told me, you're going to get out there and realize that you can't do it all alone, and then you're going to see that Christianity is real. What kind of an argument is that? Like, once you need my religion as an emotional crutch, then you will realize that it's empirically true.
that statement just sounds ridiculous. I mean, you know, anything that religion can provide can also be provided by secular means, and I think they might need to understand that. Like,
Oh, yes,
anyone can
exactly.
go to AA and have to deal with all the religious nonsense that's wrapped around it, or they can go to a secular version of the same thing, and there's no religion involved. Because I mean, let's face it, helping people does not require to have any religious stuff in behind it. If you're just going to do that to indoctrinate people, then you're not really helping anyone. You've got ulterior motives, in my opinion. So just go somewhere where you don't have to worry about that sort of thing, especially if you're on the fence and questioning your beliefs, and you don't really need to have more of it rammed down your throat. Then obviously you would go to something like that instead of having to deal with all the garbage that's wrapped around it.
Yeah, for sure.
So um, how about friends? Did you have any friends that were like hardcore believers that sort of like don't talk to you once they found out that sort of thing?
I did have some friends who were like that. Well, most of all of my friends went to the same church because I went to a very, very small town and they all decided they'd attend the Methodist church.
Mm-hmm.
And none of them ever just outright decided that they weren't going to be my friend anymore, but they did get very uncomfortable around me whenever religion was brought up. Usually because I tended to argue decently well, and it usually ended with them feeling more uncomfortable when they realized that their reasons to have faith weren't really valid.
Right, right. But they still talk to you and they still hang out with you and stuff still, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know. I was kind of an isolated person in high school, so I didn't really hang out with too many people, which is probably why if someone decided that they didn't want to be around me, I did not notice.
I see. Okay. Was there a reason for that? You just didn't get along with many of them, or were
Um, I,
opportunities weren't there,
I think a
or
lot
was
of
there
it.
much hanging out?
Well, there's not really much hanging out because there's nothing much to do in a small town like that. Like the entire town dies at 6 p.m. when everybody decides that they're just gonna go to sleep. Because the main population of my town was like old people, and it's kind of hilarious.
We got a place like that around here that we call home of the newlywed and the nearly dead.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes, it is precisely like that.
Yeah, it's kind of
Uh,
funny how that works out that way. There's actually two little areas around here that we refer to like that. Just seems to be the populace that ends up inhabiting those areas is like nice new families and really old people. like nothing in between.
Exactly. But
Just noticed
also
that
there's just, I'm
my
sorry, go ahead.
beer my beer can cozy kind of smells like weed. It's because I hide this in it, and that's yeah. Oh yeah, no, these things are great, man. I got it at Cabela's, which is like a hunting, sporting kind of store, and it pops open, and you can keep your weed in it.
Oh boy, Cabela's, we have those.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a nice little store if you like that kind of outdoorsy gear and all their outdoor cooking stuff is amazing, man. I bought some hot sauce that comes in a skull jar there, and it's just amazing. It's basically death, liquid form death. If you eat that stuff, it's like whoa, you're gonna be breathing fire.
sounds more realistic than the Bible still.
Yeah, 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 for sure. Hell, I've seen some fantasy movies that are more realistic than the Bible. Yeah, I'm sorry, but people don't live to be 900 years old. It just doesn't work. I don't care how magic your God is. Every time, it's funny. Recently, I've been having conversations with people. Well, my dog, God's omnipotent. And I said, yeah, well, my God's omnipotent, which means he's more powerful than your God. So
Oh
say
shit.
stupid things like that, right? And you can't disprove that. So shut up. Because they always like, well, I always ask them. I said, nobody can really prove or disprove. Oh, yeah, I can prove God. I'm like, well, how? Like seriously, well, how did you discount all the thousands of gods that came before your specific one? Like, however you figured out how to disprove them, I'll use that method to disprove yours, kind of thing. Because
That's a really good point.
well, I mean, you can't really prove or disprove them either way. They're just, to me, I look at them as all being mythological. So, and I've made that point many times.
It,
Most of these theists don't like getting into conversations with me because I pretty much end them pretty quickly. It's like, look, dude, I don't believe their mythologies. To me, if you want to believe, feel free, but don't push your bullshit on other people.
yeah, it doesn't really matter who you address, you're still talking to the same ceiling.
Exactly. I've seen a funny meme actually recently where it just says prayer, right? Or what prayer is or something. It's got a guy talking into a tube that's attached to his head. So it's like you're talking to yourself kind of thing, right? Oh, Robert X is joining. Oh, he just left the GI stream to come here. Hey, Robert,
Oh
thanks for
shit.
joining us, buddy. Yeah, I was going to jump into the GI stream earlier, but then I got wrapped up with some other shit around here. So I hope it's going to be an 8-hour stream, and he's been going for a few hours already. So maybe after we do the after party. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. I usually do an after party after these things, so you're always welcome to join us for that. A few people will jump in. Whoever's not, watching non-sec or GI or any of the other guys that are doing their stuff tonight. All right. So, anyways, back to the topic at hand here. So, what? Obviously, you're more out and about with your atheism now. So, what made you decide to want to sort of be more active in the community?
I think it was just at some point I realized how much I had put up with in tolerating religion, which
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't it's so odd. I've never seen an institution which relies so heavily on straw manning the people who aren't a part of it and consistently disrespecting the people who are outside of the cult. And eventually I just had enough and I couldn't
Mm-hmm.
really take it anymore.
Well, it's good. The more voices we have out there, the better off I think we are. And you're right; they do try to do that a lot, and it gets annoying after a while, especially when you go up against. Oh my God, I don't know if you've come across these guys, but there's a few guys, and they're like master apologists, if they still go with that, or that Hanzo guy. These guys are just nut bars, man, and some of the stuff they say. Are you familiar with them?
I I have heard of them, but I have not done much investigating, unfortunately.
The master apologist has never lost a debate. Apparently, he's like 400 and 0 or something like that. And
Oh
I've
God.
yet to see him actually debate. So who knows what the fuck he's going on about there?
Oh, geez. I go to the apologist club here on campus. Um,
Hmm.
it's it's great. We have a few kids from my campus's branch of the Secular Student Alliance who go to the apologetics club just to hear their arguments and hear what's like, I don't know, in fashion now, at least around campus.
In fashion, like what in what way? Like clothing, or are we talking?
So apparently, um, apparently presuppositionalism is starting to make a comeback.
Mhm.
It's really in fashion with them right now. I don't know why. It's so blatantly a fallacy, but
Yeah.
they really love it for some reason.
Well, it makes them feel good. They're comfortable.
Oh, yes, of course. I forgot.
Let's face it, these sorts of belief systems are very much based in emotional connections, right? So, I mean, that's why a lot of them say, "I don't know what I would do if there was no God," right? Well, you're doing it because there ain't no God. So, well, I can't actually say that out. Oh, I can because I could say there's no gods, just like there's no fucking such thing as leprechauns or unicorns or dragons or these are all sorts of things that we just read about in stories, and that's what your so-called holy book is. It's just another storybook written well after the alleged events. Anyways, I mean, the Old Testament or Torah and stuff like that, they were written around the alleged historical events. But at least in the Old Testament and the Torah, there was actual events that were based in actual historical events in the Torah, anyways. But most of it is just nonsensical. I mean, you got a book that says he's at one end he's born in Nazareth or Bethlehem or where is he from actually? Because we don't really know because it keeps saying where the hell are these people from or where the hell is this guy from? It doesn't really narrow it down. It gives you two options. I guess you just got to pick your favorite. Oh, Nacho Witness has joined us.
Oh, praise Nacha.
Yeah, he's good people. He's my brother. One of these days, I should let him know. Nacho, my mom's going to be in Australia. She's flying down there to meet her boyfriend, who's on a cruise right now. She was going to go on the cruise, but her doctor suggested that she probably do not or should not go on the cruise because of the state of her diabetes. So he suggested she didn't go. So she didn't go on the cruise because it was going to be for a month, and then she's just going to fly down to Australia and meet her boyfriend there. So, Nacho, if you see a crazy lady trying to run up and pet koalas, that's probably my mom. Yeah. All right. So, are you still in like college right now?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. And you have to
Yeah.
deal with these. Is it like the college that you're at? It's not like a religious based one, is it?
Oh, it is.
Is it?
Oh
Wow.
dear. Yes, it is.
Are they? Do they force you to take any biblical type studies or anything like that?
Oh, of
Like,
course.
do you need them to get through it?
Yeah,
How,
you're required
how
to
do you
take
deal with that? I'd be
with
pulling
a
my
lot of
hair out.
with a lot of internal screaming.
Yeah. Screaming on the inside. It hurts. It hurts. Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine. I don't know if I could do it when I lived in Israel for 2 years for grade 11 and 12 back in the day. They didn't force any of the religious study on us, but there was always some shit going on, and I was already sort of a doubter at that time. Anyways, I became pretty much a doubter when I was studying for my bar mitzvah. And all the stories I heard in Hebrew school when I was a kid, I was like, this shit couldn't have happened. There's just no way. Right. So, but I went there. My mom and dad, because I was a pretty rough, stupid, bad, hooligan kid, and they thought maybe sending me away might straighten me out. And ultimately, I think back in it now, and I'm pretty sure that was the time of my life that did sort of turn me around. I mean, I got into trouble again when I got back, but yeah, I was an idiot. What can you do? You grow out of that. But yeah, living there, they never really forced me to do any religious stuff, which was kind of cool. But it was a good time though, man. Probably a couple of the best years of my life were there. So made a lot of friends, Americans and Canadians. The funny thing was, my parents thinking they were going to send me there to help me get through being a hoodlum. And what they didn't realize is it was actually like a reform school for other criminalistic type kids that lived in Israel too. So all the kids that went to the school were like bad kids that got sent to this place.
Were they also atheists? Because that's what all
Um,
atheists are, right?
oh yeah, we're the baby eating bad kids. I don't, I did that sort of shit back then didn't really come up in conversations. We didn't really talk about. So basically, when I was there, it was nothing but because they don't really have a drinking age, so we could go out and get drunk all, and then we'd come back to the dorms. We'd all sit around with a lighter, it's on fire. So that was pretty amusing when you were a kid. Called them Blue Angels, right? And one of the guys that did it, he's a pretty hairy dude, and all the hair on his legs got burnt off. It was the funniest thing
Oh my God.
ever. Yeah, it was pretty crazy kid stuff, man. And then we go around, and I had a pet chameleon and all kinds of stuff there. The thing would just let it crawl around the room, and it ate all the bugs that were in there, so it was great. We named him George. Yeah, so you ever been overseas anywhere like that?
No, I have not. I haven't really gone too many places outside of the southern United States.
So you're actually stuck down there in the Bible Belt.
Most definitely.
Now, have you ever got? You're in Texas, right?
Right.
Have you ever gone to Austin to see any of the Atheist Experience filmings or anything like that?
I've I've been to Austin, but the last time I was in Austin, I was still religious. So
Oh, okay.
unfortunately, I've not made the trip down there, but I mean, it's definitely possible. I could do that soon.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a pilgrimage down there. Probably. I'm hoping late spring. So I'm gonna go down there and hang out there. I got a buddy that lives down there. His name's Thomas. His Twitter handle is Element X. He does graphics and stuff like that, so he comes up with some cool atheism graphics. And he's gotten involved with the ACA. He helps them out from time to time. So he's already agreed that I could sleep on his floor because he says he doesn't really have a big place there. I said, "Oh well, I'll just take up all the rest of the room." So there you go, because I'm like 6'4" for crying out loud. So um, yeah, so I told him I was thinking of going down there, and I've got some money that I've got socked away sort of through where I work. So I'll probably end up using that after I put some of it to fix my car because I've got ball joint issues and that could be misconstrued. And I got to get new brakes and CV shafts by the sound of it now because it's doing that little clickety 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 click noise that your CV shafts make when they start going. But I have only been doing minor maintenance to it, like oil changes, new tires, that kind of stuff. So, and I've had it for almost 8 years now. So it's about time I did some major overhaul shit on it. This is nowhere near religious talk, but anyway, I don't know. Just things that pop into my head from time to time. That's why these conversations can derail so often. So, anyways, let's get back into this about your leaving the faith thing. About how old were you, do you think, when you first sort of started feeling that you were no longer a believer?
Um, I guess I kind of started to feel it my freshman year of high school. I
Mhm.
had gone from creationist to theistic evolutionist while I was in middle school. And then my freshman year of high school, I started to learn about other religions and I
Mhm.
started questioning the validity of my own belief. And I became an omnist. And then at some point
An
after that,
omnist?
oh, yeah.
What's an omnist? I've not heard that expression, I'll tell you.
I believed that all religions were equally valid, different paths to the same goal. And so I considered
Oh.
myself a practitioner of all religions in part, which was really. um, intellectually exhausting trying to find different methods to make all of these contradicting faiths play nice with one another.
Wow. Yeah, because they are. I mean, I've often heard theists say that before. Oh, all religions are just different pathways to the same conclusion. I'm like, no, this is not the case. Like, what about
Yeah.
that? I can't remember the name of there was an African religion where the goddess, I think is Bumba or whatever, who threw up everything into existence, which I thought was pretty funny. It's awesome. That was whatever you ate, buddy. I want some of that because if I can puke out a universe, that'd be cool.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah. So no, not all religions are correlate as being the same thing. There religions pop up all over the globe with different ideas behind them. Can't tell me Shintoism is the same as Christianity or Judaism. Like that's just silly.
Exactly. And it took a while before I figured out that it was more likely that none of the faiths were true instead of all of them.
That's right. That's I've heard Dillahunty say that before. Am I breaking up? Oh, okay. I've heard Dillahunty say that before, where he says, "Well, they can't all be right, so the likelihood is there probably none of them are right."
Exactly.
Doorknob had whack-a-mole religions popping up all over. I like that. I like that one. That's good. Oh, Steven's with us, my favorite geologist, a rock study guy. Puts out some. He just released a video actually, which you can probably find if you look up his channel, where he goes into a museum where they show all these different rocks, and he went into one where they're all lit up by black lights because they have the what is it, fluorescence? I guess is that what it's called? Steven, is that what it's called? It'll take a second for him to answer because it's delayed. But rock porn. Yeah, but it's really cool because they're and all of them have like different um, parts of the spectrum, right? So there's yellow ones and green ones and blue ones and pink ones. It's really cool. Of course, I'm into that sort of thing. Being a chemist, the chemistry of rocks is kind of fluorescing. Yes, fluorescing rocks. That's right. See, I knew. I see. He teaches me. I learn things from Stephen, which is awesome. Yeah, he puts out some really cool videos, and he's got some great cats.
Oh, that's always a plus.
If you're a cat person. Oh, and I was really happy today because I went to get my usual breakfast. This is totally off topic, but I do that from time to time, kind of. And I go to Tim Hortons and grab a couple bagel breakfast sandwiches with egg and bacon and stuff, and they have what's called a roll up the rim contest where you get the coffee in these cups like this, right? And you can roll up the rim to see if you win something. And so far today, both my coffees were winners. I got a donut and a coffee. I feel like a police officer now. I get free donuts and a free coffee to go with it, which I will use tomorrow morning for sure. If I'm not too hungover. But I've only got a couple of beer, but I'm sure they'll have some more by the time I head downstairs for movie night later. We're going to air something, I can't even remember what it's called. Apparently it's a lot like John Wick. But anyway. What the? Rim job winner? No. It's roll up the rim. Yeah. It's redundant. Yeah. Anyway, I heard a funny joke today. Well, at least I thought it was funny. Roommate didn't think it was very funny. Yeah. It was actually, I saw it on Twitter. It says, how do you reuse a condom? You shake the fuck out of it. Which I thought was pretty silly. But it was funny. Anyway. All right, so were you ever like? Did you ever go to like any religious camps or anything like that?
Oh, definitely. I went to church camp when I was a kid, along with my group of friends from the Methodist church.
Oh wow,
Oh,
what was that all about? Like, what was that like to do that? Was it like every summer kind of thing, or?
I went for a summer and then I did not go again because I figured out that since I was kind of an introvert, I didn't really enjoy it as much as I thought I would.
Right,
But there was one moment that was absolutely glorious because at that time I was already sort of a theistic evolutionist and I was taking it less literally than everybody else. And so
Hmm.
I thought I would play a prank. And I had like a little pocket mirror that got broken in my backpack. And
Ooh.
whenever the light would shine off of it, it would shine off in like three symmetrical, equidistant lights in the shape of a triangle.
Cool.
And there was like this huge cross sitting at the front of the cafeteria. And so I remember one evening I got the brilliant idea of like, hey, let's put these lights at the center of the cross and watch all the kids freak out.
Did it work?
Yes, it caught some attention until one of the counselors realized it was just a kid messing around and he came over and was like, hey, could you stop?
Why? It's a miracle.
Yes, look, it's the Trinity.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Look, it's the light, the Trinity.
Yeah.
Were there any kids like running over and bowing down or anything like that? Because that would have been fucking hilarious.
No, but I did see a few kids bow their heads and it was pretty amusing to me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Kudos to you for that one. Did you catch that? Yeah, because I'm getting kind of choppy, or it looks to me like I'm getting kind of choppy here. But as long as you can still hear me, that's the main thing. Even if I look like I'm moving like this all the time, it's okay. As long as you can hear me.
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay, good. Shit, I was going to ask you, and then see, this is what I hate about getting old: is you can have something fresh on the top of your head, and then all of a sudden it's like, doof, disappears. And it's like, wait a second, is it over here? Is it under my beer? Where's that thought I just had? I was going to ask you, are you still involved with any, I guess you might say, religiously based activities? Like, do your parents still make you go to these types of things, or are you pretty much free and clear from having to deal with most of that stuff?
So my parents don't really force me to go to any religious services, but because I go to a religious school, I do have to attend chapel for credit to graduate.
Oh, wow. Wow, that sucks. I guess you just gotta maybe stick one of those really tiny headphone things in your ear and just listen to something the whole time while you're in there. As long as you're present, I
Oh,
guess is all that matters.
no, you have to be so they hire students to work there to walk through the aisles to make sure that you're not doing that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Church church aisle security. Interesting.
It's
Have they not figured out that you just don't give a shit about this stuff, or?
well, they know, but that's why they hire students to go make sure that you're paying attention. Because even the religious kids don't
Wow.
want to be there because all the services are during the morning. And so they
Right.
have to make sure that you're not falling asleep or watching YouTube on your phone because they know that even the Christian kids are going to do that. And then the entire thing would be pointless. And they want you to have as much religion shoved down your throat as they can. So,
Of course. But what if you're watching like episodes of Bible Man on your phone? Shouldn't that get a free pass?
oh,
Have you ever seen that shit? It's fucking hilarious.
oh, touche. um, I don't know.
Oh, this one's empty. That's no good.
Of course, there are the kids who take it very seriously and they bring their own notebooks and they take notes during the entire thing. And they sit at the
Oh
front
yeah,
and then they start singing and they have like different methods of hand raising. It's amazing.
hand raising. What do you mean?
Yes, like whenever they start singing and they're super evangelical and they just like throw their hands up and they just start singing
Oh,
along like
praise Jesus, that
yes,
kind of thing. Yeah.
yes,
Oh
of
my god,
course.
I would. That's when you need to have a slingshot. So, what was that? That was God telling you to sit the fuck down.
Oh, and of course they have the PowerPoint with the lyrics for every song, but it's always slightly delayed.
Well, that must go over well.
But if you try to watch it as a comedy, it makes the entire thing much more bearable.
I guess so, yeah. I guess you could do your own little movie soundtrack or talking track in your head about the whole thing.
Exactly.
You ever? Do they allow you to videotape that kind of stuff, or
Oh, they videotape it
so just,
themselves.
do they? Interesting. It'd be fun, I think, to get a copy of all that, and then you know how you've seen those videos like on YouTube where they put stuff in over top of people talking. Usually, I forget what they call them, but I think that would be hysterical to do something like that. To take some footage from something like that and then put in your own dialogue between everybody.
I could definitely send you a link if you wanted.
Oh yeah. Oh, so it's something that's online that you can fuck around with.
Yeah, pretty much.
Awesome. That might be fun to do. All right. Yeah, you'll have to send me a link because I might get into doing some stuff like that.
Oh
I
boy.
can't remember. I can't remember what they call those types of videos. It's not coming to my head right now. That's it. Bad lip reading. Thank you, David.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was thinking of. Is bad lip reading. Some of them are just too funny too. But I could see taking a video like that and doing that to it, and that would be hysterical. Jesus came in me. Yeah, a bad lip reading. That would be yeah, that would be what bushes of love. What? I don't even know what they're talking about in the chat anymore. I kind of lost my way. So guys, if you guys have any questions you would like to ask, pop them into the chat there and I'll fire away. So how do they feel at your college? Like, do they like party? Do the kids like get a little defiant once in a while and break out some 6 packs of beers and party or anything like that? Or are they pretty straight laced?
Um, it it really depends. A lot of them, so this campus is a dry campus and a tobacco-free campus, so all the
Mm.
kids will go out into the city and party and get very intoxicated and then come back.
And then come back and act like assholes back at school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's definitely a population of extremely straight-laced Christians, and that it's a pretty big population here, but also this campus is kind of known for the horrible statistics that they have when it comes to rape.
Wow. What?
There it's really bad.
What do you mean? Like are they sort of like denying that this stuff happens or?
Well, it's really hard to deny because it's very well publicized.
Oh, okay, okay.
But it happens quite a lot here. They and this I think it has to do with the fact that the school is so religiously and just conservative all around. They make you sign like a very odd sex contract as a part of their code of conduct to where any students or faculty have to sign like a pledge that says like I will not have sex out of wedlock or else it will be against their code of conduct.
Wow.
But of
I thought
course,
you were going to say something like, I will not have sex unless it's with clergy.
well, I don't know, it's Baptist, so they're not.
Yeah. Just so you know, there are some questions that I have now in the chat for you.
Oh dear.
David, you don't ask women how old they are. You just don't ask. I guess he just says you sound quite young and still being in college, he imagines so. But we won't ask that question. That'll remain a mystery. What is your quest? What do they call you? And what is your favorite color? Jesus, Stephen, fucking Sybil, buddy, narrow it down to one thing here. Anyway, what is your quest? That's what Stephen's asking. I don't know. Do you have a quest?
Um, I guess right now my quest would be to get on a research team and graduate with my sanity.
Yeah, that's not a bad one. Not a bad one. And okay, so what do they call you? I don't know. You mean like what's her name? I don't think we have to have that released if you don't want. Like that's doxing, Stephen. Come on. And what about what's your favorite color?
I I guess my favorite color would be like a bluish gray.
Oh, cool. Kind of like the color that's behind your IR logo,
A
which
little
looks
bit.
really cool. But yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, and Nadine, of course, of course, of course. Everyone wants to know. I get this question a lot when I ask these guys to ask questions. Who's your favorite Ninja Turtle? I don't know why it's important, but
Donatello.
Donatello. Ah, yes, cool. All right. Steve's like sex contract. What the fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
And Steve wants to know if are you in Wheaton, Illinois? No, no, she's in Texas, dude.
Oh, no, but one of my professors used to teach at Wheaton.
Oh, really? Okay, cool. I guess. Oh, bad tempered badgers has shown up now. That's it. It's over. We're done.
Oh, oh, yep. Pack it up, boys. We're done.
Yeah. Now Badger's awesome. I just did another interview with a lady who was really freshly out of the belief system, but he got to her before I did. You bastard! I'll get you for that. Okay. David wants to know Star Wars or Star Trek.
Oh, geez. I guess I
See,
would.
I like both, so I don't care either way.
I guess I would have to go with Star Trek just because I agree with the central message more than I do with Star
Mm.
Wars.
Hmm. Okay, that makes sense. Sure.
Yeah. I don't know.
And I would agree with you there.
It seems more noble to go out and explore in the name of science than to, I guess, continuously overthrow systems of power.
But that could be fun,
It can be fun. Yes, I agree.
especially when you get to play with lightsabers. Come on, you know that they're working on actually making those things a reality. It's
Oh
just a
God.
matter of containing the light itself into a specific set range, I guess, like a lightsaber. Yeah, I can't remember what it was I was watching, but they're actually working on making real lightsabers, which is
Oh,
just crazy.
oh dear.
Yeah, it's just what we need. People walking around chopping people's heads off with lightsabers. Come on. All right. So, all right. I think that's good enough. Um, Now they're just talking about Facebook and oh, Steve, you don't like Discovery. That's too bad. See, I like it. I think it's pretty good. That's too bad. Oh well. Orville's great too. The new Seth MacFarlane show. That's awesome. All right, so let's get back on track here. Let's let the comment section have their own little chit chat over there. Okay, so now that you do you find that how do you find being on Twitter with all the stuff that we obviously have to deal with when it comes to theists and the arguments and stuff like that? Do you find that it can be quite taxing, or like how's your activism point of view on that sort of thing?
It's not incredibly taxing because I'm not on Twitter as much as I would like to be.
So what's keeping you from that?
Yeah. Well, it's mainly just schoolwork because physics
Ah,
takes a lot of time.
sure. Oh yeah, I know. I agree
But
with you there.
also like the people who I found caused the most grief, like SJ blocked me.
Mhm.
So
Oh,
now
good
that's
lord.
just this entire this entire section of Twitter beef that I'm not seeing now.
Oh yeah. She hasn't blocked me yet, and I've tried, but she just—I don't know why, but she hasn't blocked me yet. Neither is Seitan Brugenkate. Like none of those people have blocked me. I keep trashing on them, but I don't know. I
Oh,
don't know
really?
why.
Sai hasn't blocked you?
No, I think they just
Oh
consider
boy.
me insignificant as compared to some of the other YouTubers.
Uh,
So I don't know.
fair enough.
Steven's already laughing. Yeah, because I mean I've just passed 250 subs already, but the funny thing is, even with that low amount of subs, I'm now being asked to be interviewed on other shows. So I must be making some kind of noise. I mean, I do this because I feel it's important to have these kinds of conversations, because people that are finding their way out of ridiculous belief systems, I think they actually go out and look to hear these stories, to hear, some of them are a little bit more difficult than others. Like your story is seems like it's not too like harsh where you've had to suffer at all from it, except maybe with your interpersonal relationships with your family. But eventually that should, you're either going to end up okay there, or you're going to be like Seth Andrews, who had to literally ostracize his parents. He's got them on block lists on his phone now. So.
Yeah, I I definitely feel that. Um, I have not told a portion of my family because I know that they would likely disown me. So
Really?
I can definitely understand where that comes from.
Wow. Yeah, I see. To me, that's just mind-numbingly crazy. Like my family, they all know I'm atheist. Well, they've known for a long time. Actually, some of them just found out, which I was like, you didn't really. Me wearing the atheist T-shirts didn't give it away. What are you talking about? And then they, I guess, and maybe it's because growing up, I mean, our family was fairly secular. I'd say we were more culturally Jewish than anything. So it didn't really strike them as surprising, especially with me, because I've always sort of been the black sheep of the family, anyways. But yeah, I always find it's heart-wrenchingly horrible when I hear families disowning their relatives because of something like this. Like, you don't have to agree with each other, but to disown somebody because of a belief system just tells you, or should tell you, just how horrible some of these belief systems can be.
Well, of course, when you're on the inside, it's not a belief system, it's a foundation for your entire reality. So I
Fair
can I
enough.
can understand why they do it. It just makes me very sad that they do. And
Yeah, yeah, that's a good way to put it.
yeah, I see it as more indicative. Yeah, it is really indicative of them as a person that they would allow that they would rather disown a part of your family than reconsider something that you've always taken for granted and not looked at critically before.
Hmm.
But also it does have it is the fault of the belief system for allowing it, well, not for allowing, but for demanding that its followers be completely uncritical of every little idea.
Hmm. Plus, many of these, especially if you're a fundamentalist within a belief system, these belief systems are very divisive. It's us versus them, pretty much any of them, right? So,
Most definitely.
frustrated atheist said, "Say hello." He said he saw that I was interviewing you, and he had to stop by and say hello.
Oh boy,
So Russ has
frustrated.
stopped by and say
Hello.
hello. Yeah, yeah, Russ is good people. I still got to send him the comic books I promised him, but so, sorry, Russ. The real reason behind it is most of my cash has been going into other things, so I just don't have enough to. Because I went and investigated, and it's going to cost me a little bit to ship them down to you. So, yeah, I have some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with Batman team up comics. I'm going to send him because he's
Oh,
into
that's
them
so
like
cute.
me. Yeah, I will get them out to you eventually, Russ. They are coming. Maybe my next Christmas. So we'll send them. When's your birthday, Russ? I'll make sure they're there before then. Yeah, he's just stopped by to let you know that he popped in to say hello. But I'm pretty sure he's involved with one of the other shows that's going on right now, like GIs or something. Damn
That's
those
completely
people
understandable.
for broadcasting against my show. He says, "Dude, I'm not worried. I know you're not worried. They'll eventually get down to you. It's the anticipation that's half the fun, right, Russ? It's waiting for it. They're going to be here any day now. Any day being like what was it? 4 months ago, I told you I would send them." I'll include. Well, his birthday's in May. Cool. All right. I'll include a free coffee from Tim Hortons with it for you, there, Russ. That is if I don't use it tomorrow morning, because I'm going to be in need of caffeine in the mornings as usual. Yeah, usually I get to work and I'm the guy that makes the coffee right away. And the thing that pisses me off is when first coffee break comes by, all of our drivers have been through the kitchen area and they usually drain that sucker and never make any more. So I'm stuck making more coffee. And I've even left notes like, I'm not your mother, people. Make your own damn coffee. But anyway. All right. Oh, he's at the barn. He's at work, I guess. Well, thanks for stopping in. Anyway, we're closing in on the hour now. So is there anything else you wanted to talk about before we move over to the... That's if you're in for it. I don't know if you can jump into the after party. I don't force my guests to do that.
Yeah, sure, I could definitely jump in.
Okay, cool. Because what I'll do is basically we shut this one down and I give you a brand new link. And Google thinks I'm talking to it. It popped up and goes, how can I help? You can't. I want 604 Atheist to be my mother. Mother? I'm not breastfeeding you, doorknob head. Besides, it'll probably be beer that comes out anyway. So, well, hey, bonus. Anywho. Wait, what? IR's info. What does that mean, Nadine? That's a little too short. I may come on during the after show. Okay. I can be there for a bit. Stephen. Okay. So we've got some people that are willing to jump in. Oh, yes. I see. Do you have a YouTube channel?
Yes. It would be under the name Inordinate Refraction.
Cool.
It's
I didn't know,
unfortunately
so I didn't add it to the description. I did add your Twitter so people could follow you, and Nadine just retweeted or reposted your Twitter. Okay, so yeah, I will add your channel link to the description afterwards. Very cool.
awesome.
What are you going to be planning to do on the channel?
So it's been a little bit slow. Well, a little bit. I haven't uploaded a video since I've started the new semester. Um,
Understandable.
I plan on continuing to do like a scientific analysis of Lee Strobel's The Case for a Creator, and
Oh,
I've been thinking
cool.
about making a video about error bars and how science continuously calculates for how it can be wrong. Because that's an
Mm-hmm.
argument I hear a lot from creationists. Like,
Yep.
how can the Big Bang Theory be true? You can't even narrow it down to the correct span of, 1,000 years or so. Like, no, that's not how error bars work.
It should remind these people that every time they turn on a TV and see snow on the channel, that's the actual background radiation noise.
Yes.
We know it's there,
It's
people. We can see the oldest light that we have ever seen has come from the beginning of the universe, and it's what we call like the big border that's around our universe. It's the light that's from the Big Bang. So we can guess to within years of how long ago it was. So just or not guess, we infer from the evidence how long it's been.
preach.
Yeah. Anywho. All right. Well, thank you very much for talking with me today.
Thank you for
It's
having me.
it's been we kind of side-railed quite a bit, but that's okay. That's what these things are all about, anyways. It's just a way to get to know each other a little bit better too. And what I also have a chat group on Twitter, and if there's room, I think I'm almost at 50 in that group. But if there is room, I can add you to it, and you can get to know some of the folks that are hanging out in the chat right now. That's basically what I do is I add people that I've had an interview with or that I'm going to, because there's a couple folks in there that I still haven't had an interview with, but I will. And they're good people. I'll warn you now. Sometimes it gets a little crazy, so you might want to hit that mute for 8 hours button, just so you don't hear your phone go beep 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 beep. Especially when frustrated's in there chatting away. It'd be crazy. They all know how Russ likes to chat. So anyway, there's
Oh, that
50
would
of
be
us.
great.
50 already. Okay, I'm gonna have to kick some people out of there. I don't even know if I can do that, but I'll give it a try. But yeah, well, I'll see if it's possible, and I'll add you to the group. If not, all you guys watching, spread the word and follow Inordinate Refraction, okay? Because she's awesome. And if you don't, I'll hunt you down and kill you. No, I'm kidding. I shouldn't say that. Not on YouTube. Like I'll ever be monetized, but my other channel's monetized, so it's okay. But that's for gaming. All right. So once again, thank you very much for talking with me. I had a good time. I hope you did too.
Yeah, most definitely.
Awesome. You laughed at most of my jokes. I always appreciate that. And thanks everyone for tuning in and hanging out with us. We'll get the hangouts or the after party going momentarily. I'm gonna do a little bathroom break and have a quick cigarette, and then I'll send you a brand new link, and we'll shoot the shit with some of our friends for a little bit longer. I can go for about an hour or so. But a friend of mine's girlfriend has come back from Toronto to grab more of her stuff. She's moving back to Toronto. She hates it here. So I told him I'd stop in and say hello for a while. So that's in about an hour and a bit. So. All right, guys, thanks again. And like I say at the end of all these chats, remember, guys, it's called faith because it's not